Check that after this.
And we're live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Den. Today, I'm joined by my friends. You guys have seen them all over the place. They're awesome. Go check out all their stuff. Links are down below. But we're going to get into the Acolyte episode 4. This one has, I feel like, just as much controversy around it as the third one. So we're gonna get into this, but first I kind of want you guys' like initial reaction, whether you just like you liked it, you hated it, or you're somewhere in the middle. And JT, you're first on the list, so we'll go with you first.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I like the majority of it. There were a few moments there that were kind of throwing me out of the immersion, though. And those were some of the topics actually we'll address today. But for the most part, yeah.
Heck yeah, Charlie, Peak. What about you guys?
Loved it.
Nice,
Yep.
Very cool.
Indeed. And I will ditty off that and say I loved the whole thing, but the ending, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, the ending was sick.
And then Percy, what about you, man?
I didn't really like that episode on the first watch.
I know you were waiting for Kalmaka. I know you were. We're gonna get into
watch
it.
through it was a little more interesting, kind of like pausing and looking at stuff a little closer.
Dude,
Yeah,
he's like, the ending is sick. All right, Percy, your turn. Yeah, I don't like it.
No, I felt
I do
so
like
bad.
the part with the stranger though. I got a bunch of snaps of the stranger.
Yeah, it was just funny because I know how excited you were. You were like hyping this Wookiee up. You're like, it's gonna be so cool, man. We're gonna see. And I don't think you're the only one. I've watched a lot of people's reaction, and they're all like, "What the heck? Like the Wookiee's dead. Like that's all we're getting of the
Yeah.
Wookiee." You know?
That's a big one.
Yeah, professional athlete actor doesn't really. Well, hopefully he gets more of a chance.
Yeah, maybe in the
flashback
flashback.
scenes, but-
Yeah. We'll talk about that here in a
Yeah,
second.
that's all I gotta say about the episode. I liked it better on the second watch.
That's good. Well, that's the thing, man. That's kind of always what I subscribe to is like I kind of leave my opinion till like the second time around, and then like usually with the second watch through, you can kind of like digest it a little bit better, and then I try to form my opinion after the second watch through. But kind of the first thing I want to talk about is Kiadi Mundi, because that's kind of seems like that's the big topic for this episode. And I'm going to go first and just kind of give my opinion on it. And then I would love to hear all your guys' opinions on it. So the first thing was his age, right? It was stated, I think in like a comic book or something like that, that his species doesn't live that long. Now this comic book is EU. It's not canon or anything like that, but I know there was a big controversy with like Wikipedia going and like changing his age and doing all that stuff. And man, like for me personally, like it doesn't break the episode or anything, like break canon or anything like that. I think that, you know, I see why people are upset with it. I think the Acolyte, I feel like it's almost too close to the Phantom Menace to where it's like, I don't think that quote where he's like, the Sith have been extinct for a millennia, you know, I think he was probably I wouldn't have gone with that choice personally. Like if I would have picked a Jedi, honestly, if you guys want to know what Jedi I would pick, you know, he's kind of a meme in the community, but I feel like enough people know him and enough people joke about him where like, dude, could you imagine if they would have added Coleman Trebor instead of him? I know he's a meme. I know he has like 2 seconds of screen time in Attack of the Clones, but we don't know how old he is. I don't think there's any like canon explanation for that. And I don't know. It's kind of cool seeing like a dinosaur. I don't know. I think that would have been a cooler one than Kiadi Mundi. Even if like the age thing I said doesn't bother me. They change stuff all the time in Star Wars. Everybody gets bent out of shape. And George himself has said, the movies are the only thing that's canon. Everything else is extra. If you want to add that to your head canon, great, go for it. But 1 through 6 is canon. Everything else can be changed and is subject to change. So I don't know. I've never really been hurt by that. Like a lot of people got mad and for instance in Bad Batch, Kanan's origin got changed. Like it's not the same. Depa Palaba didn't have. I believe she has a blue lightsaber in Bad Batch in the first season, and I think it's green in the comics or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I personally like that stuff's such small, like I don't really nitpick about that sort of stuff, but I want to hear kind of what your guys' thoughts are on Kiadi Mundi, because like for me personally, like I said, it's not my first choice, not who I personally would have picked, but I honestly don't think it's like that big of a deal. I think people are just looking at this point, just looking for shit to get mad at in this show, you know. And
Yeah.
JT, we'll kind of start with you. We'll just kind of keep doing that. We'll go JT, Charlie, and then Percy. Sorry, Percy, you're gonna be the end, but you gotta save the best for last, right? So there you go. But JT, what you thinking, man?
Qui-Gon.
Also,
No.
real quick, what's going on, Stanley? Appreciate you.
Hey, Stanley's.
Popping in.
Okay. So, first of all, Max be like, I want Coleman Trevor because he's dinosaur, so dino equals old. I respect that, right? Stanley,
Dude,
he's
I'm
saying it
telling
too.
you, man, it would have been great for the sweaties, dude. Because like most people
It's
don't
so
know
sad.
Coleman Trevor, but I think it would have been a really good nod for people who like are really into Star Wars because he's kind of a meme in the community, you know.
It's so sad. He's on the council, like in the High Council in episode 2, and then he dies later on in the movie.
That's
Like
what
he
I'm
gets such a
saying, man.
short intro. Okay, so Kiadi, the age thing is very weird because for the longest time, this has not been a new thing. Wikipedia has had some things for information-wise regarding their EU archive. That was wrong because it can be the site itself can be edited anyways, and it's
Yeah.
by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans. It's not by an official source at somebody from Lucasfilm. Now, Kiadi's original age in canon, actually wasn't in comics. It was part of a Dungeons and Dragons style tabletop game. I forget what the name of the game is,
Okay.
but it's just referenced on how long his species lives.
Okay. Okay.
But Kiadi Mundi himself began his debut in the comics in a 1 through 6 issue and forward into Star Wars Republic. The miniseries was called Prelude to the Rebellion. It dives into him wearing a straw hat. You know, his species is rare, so he's got many wives. So the Jedi Council, like
His ladies, man.
yeah, they allowed something like that due to his species being almost extinct.
Yeah.
2 hearts, 2 brains, that kind of stuff. The old canon age, whatever, right? This new instance where we see a younger version of him in the Acolyte, that doesn't bother me because even Prelude to the Rebellion, sure, it's an older looking Kiadi Mundi, but some of the moves that he does, obviously, in the book would show otherwise that he is still spry and fast. And obviously, you can make the argument, it's comic book. They're going to make him do some crazy stuff.
Well, wasn't he one of like the youngest Jedi? Wasn't he one of the he was like one of the youngest Jedi Knights to be on the council, and they retconned that because they gave that to Anakin too, and nobody seems to be upset about that.
His age alone and his experience with living through so much, even the High Republic, now that we just found out that he's involved in that era, already just makes him like top 3 Jedi on the High Council, like Yoda, Mace, Kiadi, like. He's the one that kind of Plo Koon's kind of up there as well, but he gives the word as well, just as much as those guys. And the age thing didn't really bother me at all, because I think there's a lot of saying with influencers in the community and stuff about being like, I can't believe they updated the website in live time. Oh, of course, it's fans watching it.
That's their job.
Yeah, it's their job because they get clicks for people viewing their website. But it's by fans for fans. I'm not going to argue over something like that where it's Star Wars. They're aliens. They can live however long the show says they live, right? It's such a non-argument, right? It didn't bother me at all.
Well, it feels like it's just something to nitpick just for the sake of nitpicking. Honestly,
I have nitpicks. That's not one of them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like honestly, I think I would have had more of a problem if it wasn't Kiadi Mundi because he's so like I feel like his age, whatever, that can be here nor there. But the fact that there's like multiple ones that are force sensitive, because I'm blanking on his species, the name of his species, but like if you were to have like multiple ones of him, like it kind of ruins the fact that like it's kind of a rarity that like he's there because he's supposed to have like 5 wives. He's supposed to be like they're on the brink of extinction. So it's like the fact that like there's multiple. I'm not saying that it's unrealistic to have more than one male, but like more than one like force sensitive male. I don't know.
Well, Kiadi himself, he's quite literally the unicorn of the Jedi Council. Even his head looks like it, right? He's supposed to be that long, ever-living being that's kind of been through it all. But I mean, now that we've seen like a younger version of him, it still fits, right? It's just it's such a non-argument in my opinion.
And I want to say one more thing, and then Charlie, we'll move to you. The fact that the fact that I don't even I just lost my train of thought. Charlie, you go and I'll circle back around. I don't know. I said, hey, let me talk, and then my thought left me. Charlie, you go ahead, and Peak, you go ahead. Both you guys go, and then I'll circle back around. It'll come back to me.
Okay, man. Just say Sensibine if it pops up. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? I mean, come on. No, I'm 1,000% with JT on that one. It's such a okay, whatever, guys. Cool. I enjoyed it. Whenever Sam's like, I wonder if that's him, and then it was like, yeah, it's him. Cool. It makes sense. Everything like that. But I hadn't got there yet. It's too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon.
I'm just happy. I was wicked happy to see that. So whatever.
Syrian, that's what he is. Sorry,
Syrian,
Charlie.
yeah.
Arigato, Stannis.
Peak, what about you, man? I know you're kind of new into Star Wars and the universe, but I think you could still kind of, from a newer perspective, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I just enjoyed it. Well, I'm not sensitive, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't. Long as I enjoy the episode and understand where everything is going,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine. I'm not going to nitpick because comics, movies, every stuff changes. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
A lot of movies don't really go by the books. They just use the books just to guide them through the process. Yeah. So like, I don't.
Honestly, I say to pass the time too, because a lot of times, like the movies they're like 2 or 3 years out, so they'll make more content so people stay up to date with Star Wars and stuff like that too. So it is almost kind of like filler. And I know I might get freaking the wrath of God put down upon me for saying some of the comics are filler, but
as a comics fan, I allow it. I will allow it.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah. I'm a huge Canon fan and a big comic fan, and I like both stories. It doesn't matter.
Both can coexist. It's
Yeah.
not an issue.
Well, it's like that's the thing too, is like whatever your head canon is, nobody can take your head canon away from you. If you want something in your head canon, that's fine, man. It is different strokes, different folks. This to be thankful that we have enough Star Wars content to do that, because like for instance, like my friend is a Hunger Games fan, and bro, they're starving over there. They're drowning, or not drowning. They're like the Mad Max, when they're holding the bucket of water in Mad Max, and they're trying to like that's the Hunger Games fans right now. They're getting a little bit of books and movies right now. They just got another one, but that could be us. That could be us right now as Star Wars fans. It's like we're not getting crap. So, but Charlie, you reminded me of what I was going to say when you said about the droid attack on the Wookiees. So I was going to talk about his line, "The Sith have been extinct for over a millennia." I think you could. Well, again, I don't agree with I think it's too close. I don't think Kiadi should have been in the. If I would have been in charge, I would have been like put a different Jedi in there. But I think that also it can play into like the arrogance of the Jedi, because to be able to like they don't even mention Sith in that meeting. They're like, could it be like an off splinter group, like a Jedi, a rogue Jedi, or rogue this or rogue that? They don't even bring up Sith, because they're so arrogant in the way that they think that they've destroyed the Sith and they've been gone forever. They couldn't possibly be working in the shadows. That's ridiculous. That's a fairy tale. We destroyed them years ago. Like we don't even have to worry about them anymore. So I think there is a way that you could spin Kiadi saying that in like this like whole like splinter faction and them trying to keep it away from the High Council. Which honestly, side note, I think they said keep it away from the High Council because they don't want to show Yoda and the Council at this time. I think they didn't want to spend the budget on showing the Council. That's just my thoughts on it.
The director of the episode went to X or Twitter or whatever, and there was a lot of bad PR damage control of her replying to a lot of the people asking questions. Why don't we get Yoda? And then she blames it on Star Wars. I don't have enough budget. You got $180 million. As a fan, I know. I don't want to
break out the puppets again. I don't know. Do something.
Just paint yourself green and just put on a Yoda impression, honestly. But
yes, R.I.P. Donald Sutherland, the guy who plays President Snow. He just passed away. So going back to that.
I saw that. It's too bad.
Hearts in the chat for that because he killed that role, and he's and plenty of other things too, not just Game. I was going to say Game of Thrones, freaking Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Yeah,
he should have been in Game of Thrones. That would have been cool. But
Max, on your point, even if he did, even if he did think that like dark side Force user could be a Sith, he's still not in the scene at the end of episode 4. Like, he's not part of that group of Jedi that get like force pushed back like that. So he wouldn't have even seen one in person to be like, oh yeah, the Sith, that was a long time ago, or something like that. You know, he wasn't physically there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like we don't know who's going to live. Ideally, probably barely anybody is going to live, besides probably Osha and maybe May, maybe Soul. But you know, anytime somebody's like, "Hey, we're going to talk about this specific thing after we meet somebody or whatever," freaking Ned Stark did it in Game of Thrones. He's like, "Oh, I'll tell you about your mother," and then he gets beheaded. So it's like something's going to happen. In that regards. But Percy, what did you think about Ki-Adi-Mundi, man?
Can you big screen me for this one?
I can totally big screen.
He's got the files.
Dropping the fire.
Not really files, but I just got a couple pictures. So,
bro, why did he give him Sith eyes? Does he have Sith eyes in episode 2? Bro, he literally has yellow eyes.
I couldn't really tell that, but it's possible. But anyways, I think he might gain his position on the High Council here by tattletaling on this whole. I think him and her are like a conspiracy within the conspiracy. They were very like against Vanastra and her orders and stuff. So, but I also wanted to bring up this guy here, Omer. How old is Omer now? And he has 0 wrinkles on him. And how old was?
Remind me who that is. I know he's in the Clone Wars, but remind me what part of the Clone Wars he's from.
So there's a episode where is it like Padawan's Lost or something like that?
Oh, is that where they get captured by the Trandoshans?
Well, 3 other Padawans get taken to like a Trandoshan island.
Oh, okay,
they're hunted for sport.
Yeah, she meets Chewbacca there, right?
Here's like the. Is he gonna let me? Here's the picture.
Yeah. Okay, I totally see that.
So there was a Twi'lek, and then there was the girl, and the girl dies. But yeah, anyways,
spoilers.
We have a younger Syrian, and we see that they look a lot different. So I just thought it was a little jarring.
Bro, what if that's his kid?
Ki-Adi-Mundi? He's pretty wrinkly already, still, and
crust.
I don't know. And I'm not even mad about it. I think it could be no problem or like solved easily. Like if they just come out and said we changed the canon, I would be like, okay, just say it instead of like dodgeballing around everything. Like
that's why, dude.
That was never part of canon. Like we've seen three different instances where the Age of the Syrians are there. It's the Ultimate Alien Anthology from 2003. And then 2 Star Wars nerds made the video where we found out that the Phantom Menace CD said his actual age that came with the movie. And then and then in 2006, after Revenge of the Sith, we get his age again in a Topps card game series. So there's like 3 instances, and just to me it was just weird to see that they're older. I don't think it really changes anything big.
Dude,
but it was just
look at it. Look at A New Hope with Obi-Wan.
Ki-Adi-Mundi in it.
Yeah,
he survived Order 66.
I know it's more like
seriously. Look at Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and how much he ages in such a technically short amount of years up to A New Hope.
He's double sun, man.
Dude, he's like 70 or 80. So there's definitely some sort of super aging power in Star Wars that works on specific species, right? That's why it's such a non-argument to me, because like you said, if Disney says it is what it is, cool, right? I get you can argue about what that's part of Legends, it's not respecting the pre-existing character. There's a lot of stuff that Disney have done specifically where they tried to bring EU and Legends characters in and have completely ruined the respect to them. This is not a new thing.
They did it in Rise of Skywalker with bringing Palpatine back, dude. It was literally Dark Empire.
This is and I'm not a Disney shill or a Disney grifter or whatever you say.
Nah, you're a shill. You're getting those shill bucks,
man. Like certain things in Star Wars, and I dislike certain things with Star Wars. There are certain things that shouldn't be in canon.
Yeah.
for a reason. And this is like such a weird thing to argue about. His age, we're not even focusing on the episode anymore. Now we're focusing on a character's age that doesn't line up.
Yeah,
Dude, if we had the same sort of mentality for Marvel, something like Infinity War would have been butchered, dude.
Oh, I'm sure there's
Butchered!
people out there. I'm sure there's people out there that's like, it doesn't line up exactly how the comics did it, so it's freaking garbage. I know a lot of people were like mad about. We'll talk back about the Acolyte, but like I know a lot of people didn't like Thanos and how they like introduced him, and stuff like that.
That's the beautiful thing about headcanon. You can accept it.
Yeah.
You can accept it as it's brought to you, but just put it in the vault. Don't worry about it. Like what you like.
Don't stop believing. Sorry.
The Stanleys brings up a good point, is that Vanestra seems to be covering up a lot of stuff. And like, hey, I don't want to bring this to the High Council. I don't want to talk about this, So you can kind of see him like in that shot that Percy, where he's like eyeballing, he's like looking off the camera. He's eyeballing to see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Vanestra and Soul. And she's like, how could you not like let me know that like the kid could have possibly been alive? He's like, dude, I saw her fall like 100 feet. He's like, I thought she was dead. What do you want from me? Which, like, by the way, could have totally caught her with the Force. That's a whole other topic for another time. But, dude, I don't know. I just think that people focusing on the wrong stuff. I mean, like, I just like we just don't like what Charlie was saying, and like I think what we've all been saying. There's just not enough information. People are making too many assumptions.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's ruining the show. I don't think is bad. I think the assumptions that people are gathering from the show, because the show's not explaining stuff.
I think they're ruining it for themselves.
Exactly. And like, hey, if you don't like the show, that's perfectly okay. If you like the show, that's also perfectly okay. It's just
don't be
just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick.
Well,
but,
you got comments that are like, this has to be the worst series that Disney ever put out. Dude, the series isn't even out yet. Dude, the series it's not even out yet. We're halfway through and you're already judging the entire thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a very possible way that one of the episodes that come out will be your favorite episode and you'll be kicking yourself.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for too, because I'm not gonna lie, for me personally, I've been like kind of in the middle of the road with this whole show. There's been some things that personally I would have done differently. And there's some stuff that I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. I think the fighting so far, and this is saying something, we haven't even gotten lightsaber action yet. And I think the fighting is really good. Like the hand-to-hand combat, them using like slight force abilities to like augment their jumps or the pushbacks. It's very like it reminds me of old like Jackie Chan and like Bruce Lee movies. Very like the flow, with the flow and the motion and the energy and the ebb and flow.
I'll say that for the Soul fight, but for the Vanestra fight, it wasn't really too cool in my opinion. It was,
you mean it's not Vanestra.
Trinity.
Indara.
That's Indara.
Indara.
Yeah. That
I was like, what did I miss?
Yeah. I saw episode 5 first.
Well, she's coming. Vanestra's coming because she's got the lightsaber. She's got the whip, and we've seen that. And she's in the forest area, so she's going to be there in the forest probably next episode. I had to guess. Probably to save everybody's ass.
We're definitely getting another flashback, because if you look back at the shot where Osha's on the ship, Kelnaka is nowhere to be seen, and young Torben has like scratches on his face, and we see that promotional trailer for the show where he's getting scratched.
I hope we get to see some Wookiee claws.
A possessed Kelnaka or something like that.
Dude, because I know like I really hate that in the Wookiee like culture, like using your claws is like dishonorable, because like dude, seeing a Wookiee with like giant claws just smack you, like dude, that would be so freaking sick. And the fact that that'll kind of transition us into Kelnaka's death. And talking about how we felt about that, because I feel like we were all in the watch party. We were all kind of like, oh, like, dude, really? Like, we wanted to see some like epic like Wookiee act. Like, you're gonna bring probably arguably one of the coolest designs in the show so far. You know, is a Jedi Wookiee, and you're not even gonna. He literally just looks a couple times. Like he looks back, he scares off the thing. The only thing he's done is he broke that rifle in half. That's what he did. He snapped the rifle. And just to see, it is cool. I will say Disney's doing the lightsabers a little bit better, because I feel like the lightsabers have been weakened through Disney era content, Obi-Wan smacking the stormtroopers like a baseball bat, people getting stabbed and surviving. Like Kalnaka got sliced. He got diced, dude. And it actually shows the damage and the capability of a saber. So I will say, while it did suck to see him get got essentially, it was cool to see that the lightsabers have damage, like real damage. Like
well, you can make the argument in Kenobi when the Inquisitor visits the town and cuts the hand off one of the citizens, but then again, it's also an Inquisitor, a very different deep rabbit hole we shouldn't go down.
Maybe we'll make a whole topic about that, because I think the saber damage thing is a.
I don't know what I dislike more. No, but you can see our initial reactions during the watch party, and I still stand with my initial reaction was like, really? Dude, come on. This is like such a cool concept, a Wookiee Jedi, and he has the lamest death. He dies off screen. Yeah. And even the Indara is like, the camera just kind of pans to her and the knife's already in her chest. Like, dude, that just kind of fell flat for me. I'm no film expert. I don't make movies, whatever. But seeing that, it could have been done a different way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been cool to see them actually fight or something like that. Maybe don't show his death, but just show like the initial like interaction.
Struggle,
or something like
that. And then it cuts to what is interpreted.
And then you can see May, and then you can see him kind of sitting in the chair or something like that. Or, but I know we all have similar things. But if anybody has anything to add to Kalnaka's death, go for it.
Yeah. Whenever I've seen, I've only seen one of the trailers and stuff like that. When I did, it was he was using a lightsaber, so I'd imagine we'd see him again. So that
I think that's the flashback.
He's guaranteed. He's guaranteed.
So and also got to see him like do a little mechanic thing while looking all professional and stuff, and still seeing a Wookiee wear clothes and just changes my perspective on Chewbacca now.
Yeah,
it just does. You're just like, man.
Well, I think that's more traditional. Like traditional Wookiees don't wear they wear armor during wartime, but like that's more of like the fur covers everything. But, like the Jedi are like, look, man, you got to put on some pants. Like we can't be walking around.
I could just imagine one of the B1 battle droids like riding like the snail droid, like coming up to the beach because she can be like,
okay, imagine everybody naked and you'll be fine.
And the Wookiee's like on the beach, like, ow! It's terrible.
It didn't bother me.
Vision I didn't need.
It was you're welcome.
A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Indeed. Look, man, they just got a lot of hair. All right. Anyways, the point is, it didn't bother me. I was like, we'll see him next thing or something like that. But no worries for me. That's it. Did you anything?
No. Watch it be fun. The whole next episode would be about him.
Dude, I hope so, dude. That would be great.
That whole fight. That'd be awesome.
Listen, if we didn't know that we were going to guaranteed get more Kalnaka, just seeing this episode by itself is objectively bad writing for the character of Kalnaka. You don't see him at all, and he just dies off screen.
Yeah.
Right. So we're rating Kalnaka as it didn't bother me based on the fact that we will eventually see him again, but judging off of what I've just seen,
his big slash is just going to be a scar, and he's going to float down like the Sith at the end and be like, I've only used a fraction of my power, and just like floats down, just takes out everybody.
His tattoos start glowing like Aang.
Yeah.
Hey, what if he had a twin?
My God.
That was his twin, the Jill.
Yeah.
That was Nakaka. No,
he used the Naruto
Hey guys, I'm here. I just made it. Oh, hi guys. Wait, then who's? Oh, that was my cousin Eddie.
No, dude, he used the clone jutsu like in Naruto, man. It's just a fake Wookiee. But Percy, what about you, man? I know you had like pretty much the most stakes out of everybody and wanting to see a Wookiee Jedi. So I want to know your thoughts and feelings on it.
Oh man,
and we'll pull you back up.
You're muted.
You are muted, by the way. You are muted, my friend.
You're muted.
I cannot hear you. Hello there.
Take two. There you go.
He lives in a giant tank tread, as I was saying. And it's pretty cool. I was like, wow, that's really weird. Like some ancient battle happened here. something's going on with Kelnaka. That's all I can tell you. I don't give a shit about the ending. He's just dead. I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
So the beginning is where I was more interested. We see his hut and his house. He's got this big opening in the top of his abode, which reminds me of Master Torben meditating underneath a big skylight where it's open to the stars. And you know what, there are these witches that seem to gain all their powers from the stars, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with that. And not only is the skylight, we have all of these like it's May's tattoo all over the place, and the yin yang symbols.
You know what this reminds me of real quick? It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys played the first Assassin's Creed game, but in the first Assassin's Creed game at the end, spoilers if you guys haven't seen it, there's a subject before him that goes crazy and like paints the walls with blood and like paints all like the assassin symbols and stuff like that. This is kind of what it reminded me of, like almost like he was going, like he was tormented by like what had happened, I guess, that night.
He was Torben-mented.
But go ahead, Percy. Sorry, I just wanted to.
I can get to the other part with him.
On travel.
There he is.
Yeah, dude, he got
lipstick
nice.
on.
He's just resting. He's taking a nap.
Put lipstick on. But anyways, he was like researching some shit about the witches.
Oh.
It looks like. So not only were all that stuff on the wall, maybe that stuff was on the wall before he even got there. And this is like where the witches originated from. And maybe that's why he got sent to work on this planet in the first place.
He's like Shia LaBeouf in the first Transformers, where he's like spitting all like the knowledge about his grandfather and like the freaking Transformers and all this. Like that's like Kalnaka right now, but with the witches. He's like, you see this connects with this, and this connects with that.
I just think like they're witches. They kind of, lots of forest and mountain tribes usually with the witches. So
yeah,
it's possible they're from a planet like this.
And the symbol looks like it's similar to the yin and yang. And I think that's kind of what they're playing on, because like the Jedi are supposed to be good, and we haven't really seen it yet of why they're kind of shown as like the evil ones. But like, I think they're kind of trying to mix and match good and evil. And that,
Percy, I think you're onto something though with Kofar possibly being like an original witch place, because like you just showed us the place where he lives kind of is that weird like ancient looking stone building. And
it's
then
a big tank tread.
Yeah, and then when you see the two twins as, small girls playing around the Bunta tree, like your previous thing with the around the tree they have the runes of like some sort of ancient temple looking thing, and they have very similar skinny long trees, just like on Kofar. So could be.
Well, because they said they were exiled, right? So they were probably hopping planets. Maybe that's the first kind of
maybe they went to a few different places.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping we get more backstory into that. I know we're about halfway through the story, so I guess we'll see where it goes. Because like I feel like most of the trailers have shown us kind of up to this point. Like I don't know about you, I haven't really. Yeah, minus the flashback and her using her light whip. And I think we're gonna get that in the next episode. But I think it's kind of shown us the majority of like what the trailers have. So I think most of it's gonna be newer content. But talking about like witches and like symbols and yin and yang, and well, how do you guys feel about May kind of making that switch of being like, screw it, screw the master, I'm gonna go talk to these Jedi, I'll give them all the information on the master, they'll let me in? Because personally for me, I felt like it was a little too fast. Like what I thought would have been cooler of an idea, and maybe they didn't do this because a lot of people are speculating that guy, I forget his name,
Chimera.
The guy that Chimera,
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, yeah. He is the Sith guy. I don't think he is.
Honestly,
I kind of feel like it's more of like her other mother. I feel like the Iridonian. I forget what her
Coral, yeah. I think it has to either be her or Kamir. I think Kamir is a little more likely in my eyes because he was just tied up, and then he's kind of in disbelief she says, "Yeah, after 17 years of doing all this, I think on this little short 30-second walk, I'm gonna completely 180." And he's like, "Whoa, wait, what?" And then he's worrying about being left up there because I guess at that time he doesn't want to give himself away. But it's just awfully convenient that.
Well, what I think would have been cooler for them to do is if she, instead of trapping him, like her going further to the, I like her as a dark side character, and maybe they're gonna do the switch where like she ends up being the light side, and then Osha ends up being the dark side. But if she were to try to kill him, be like, hey, I don't need you anymore, and like really dark side and kill him, and then maybe if he is the master, that's when he's like, you think you're like, because he does that, he kind of turns when when Osha comes into the shop and he's like, oh, I don't know, this, that, I'm just a shopkeeper. And then he like, it's like almost like a light switch happens where he's like, you look just like her. And like his whole demeanor, like it was very Palpatine in the way that like when Palpatine like reveals himself to Anakin, it's like almost like he pulled a mask off and like he had a different person, like his tone was different. And Chimere kind of had that same tone. So maybe if she, and then maybe he like disregards her or something like that, or like tosses her off. We've seen plenty of people get tossed off cliffs or get pushed back, or maybe he thinks she's dead and then he goes and kills Torben or something like that. Maybe they don't want to reveal that. I don't know. But I just felt like her was like, oh, I'm going to turn. He's like, my allegiance is to my sister. First off, literally, it's a little jarring when you're like, my allegiance is to my sister. And then in the last episode, you're like, I'm going to kill my sister. Little weird. I know time heals wounds and stuff like that. But in May's eyes, Osha is the problem. She's the one that caused the coven to be destroyed, her mom to die, and her being sent down this path of the dark side. Osha's kind of the catalyst for that.
Yeah, episode 3 is also a flashback intermittent. So right after episode 2, where May, misses the stun shot, or Osha misses the stun shot at May, and she finally realizes she's back alive. This is the very next thing in chronological line is they meet on that planet. I do, and going back to like who it could be, it's either Chimere or Quarrel. There's that shot where whatever zipper mouth dude floats down. Does have like black fingertips, kind of like the witches. And you can even kind of see through the slit that the eye is just a little bit glowing, similar to the Iridonian Zabrak Coral. So it could be either or, honestly. But I really thought that Osha was going to get killed right then there. When he floats down, he's right in front of her. I just, you see the red underneath ignite the lightsaber. I thought he just freaking got Han Solo.
Han Solo'd, yeah.
Like, oh my god. Way to kill Osha right up front. It didn't happen.
He just went, whoop. Just the flick of the wrist. But yeah, what did you guys think? I don't know. For me, it wasn't I think they could have. I'm fine with her switching. I just think they could have done it better. Personally, that's where I'll end my idea. But I want to hear what you guys think.
Stanley's had a good word for it. Very abrupt.
Here, let's see what he says. I assume May felt obligated to the Dark Master for saving her with no family to turn to. She fell into line, but with Osha being revealed to be alive, May is reevaluating her path. And you look, that could. I don't know. I just think it's silly of her to be like, "Oh, I've already murdered 2 Jedi. Let me just give dark side information to the council and they'll spare me." I'm like, I don't know about that, dude. Like, you've already killed 2 of. Like, if you were to kill 1, maybe. And like we've seen where like Jedi have come back from the dark side and they've been re-welcomed by the council, but they were already initially Jedi, like Quillen Voss, for instance. Like, he turned to the dark side and then came back, right? But like, she was never a Jedi.
I disagree, though, in the sense that like killing 1 Jedi, maybe they'll let you off the hook as like negotiating terms to who the bad guy is or whatever. Dude, she was framed for killing Indara. That's the 1 Jedi, and they put her on a prison transport immediately without question. I don't think any sort of. This was like the height, or I guess not the height of the High Republic, but they still have a very strong dominance of light side people.
Well, I think this is the height of the Jedi. I think they said that's what the plan for this show is like, this is supposed to show the Jedi at like their peak.
See, that's my lack of High Republic knowledge seeping through, because I don't know like the ins and outs of like what's already happened with the characters and that kind of stuff. But seeing directly already into episode 4, she's going to turn that quick, and then, hey, I killed 2 Jedi, but I'm gonna turn myself in. Hopefully that works. No, it's too abrupt in my opinion.
Charlie, what about you, man?
Yeah, kind of ditto for that because the familial thing will always come back because whenever I was watching the first time, I was like, all right. But then the second, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's right. This is the first time her seeing her sister live because we still don't know, when the whole thing happened with the planet and everything, the fire and whatever happened with that.
Yeah.
And who he was looking at the very end and stuff like that. If that was a person, I was like, nah, she died. Actually, she burned alive or something. Who knows? So yeah, and that's always been a thing with Star Wars. Family stuff. So
yeah, true.
It never bothered me because one, still midway. Also, it also can reveal something really potentially awesome. And what we've seen at the very end, we're like, well, if she's going to go this way, well then, it's getting dark. Oh, crap baskets.
Yeah, that's cool. The sunset. Yeah.
So it did not bother me.
Which I didn't catch that at first. You brought up the going from like sunset to like darkness. Like that totally went over my head the first time around when I watched it. But I was like, oh, that is a really cool thing. It like starts at sunset, and then like when the Darksider shows up, it's nighttime outside. This is pretty sick.
She says he's here and just has that little like well, it's
almost like for those who play Fallen Order. It's like at the very end, spoilers if you haven't played Fallen Order, but like when Trilla's talking to Seer, and then you just hear the breathing of Vader, and she just like somebody hit her with like she just froze, and she was just like, oh no, like
Vader was
holding
her there too.
Yep.
Oh, you think he was freezing her?
In the audio, I don't even think it was straight a force choke because she was able to talk. I think he was using some sort of like full body stasis ability where it's just like because you can see like the way she's like kind of like wiggling when she's like sitting there. It's kind of like part of the shock, but also the struggle of being held there.
Well, Kylo does that in Force Awakens.
Yeah, when Bolt and all that.
So but, I guess we have seen that before, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but you also hear the audio cue. Like when it happens, you hear the vibration, like she's being held there in stasis too. So,
if Chimera is the Sith, where is he stashing the helmet in his bag? I didn't think. No, he ran there beforehand, stashed it like right by Kalnaka's stuff, ran all the way back, and that's why he's like sweaty. He's like sweaty the whole time. But no, he does know that is a thing. He does know where Kalnaka is. She doesn't know where he is. That's why he's going with her, and he's kind of leading her. So maybe he had already planned all that stuff. And like, I could totally, that's like a Palpatine movie. I just like stash a backpack or something like that somewhere and then come in all dramatic.
I like the actor for Chimera.
I think he does a good job for sure. But what did you, Percy, what did you think about, or sorry, Peak, did you have any thing to add for her turn?
Well, it was this movie a long time ago with John Travolta. It was called Swordfish.
Oh, so, yeah.
I'm thinking it's some misdirection going on somewhere. I mean, cause everybody look how we thinking. We all got our own ideas, what could possibly happen, and it just might go. It's the reason why he looked at Ocean, just looked at it, he just flicked it off. And she just go flying, she's go flying somewhere. And May, and May all of a sudden she just want to switch sides. I don't know. It's just something. It's some misdirection.
Sleight of hand. Look at this hand while I'm gonna smack it with this one. Yeah.
Well, he like this. I mean, it's so much. I mean, it's man, something's going on, man. And they want our minds to go, something. They trying to misdirect us somewhere, man. I'm telling you.
They're doing that sleight of hand. They're showing you this hand, and then they're smacking you with this one.
Yeah. So
I don't know what kind of twist or misdirection they're working with, but with us already being halfway through the series and the advertising for the show was this is supposed to be in
murder mystery
perspective of the bad guy.
Yeah.
we're yet to see the perspective of making the good guys look like not the bad guys, but the antagonists. In Leslie Headland's words, right? We're halfway through, and I'm not seeing that. Right? We followed
Listen,
May around a little bit, but
listen. See what you fail to realize. This is also the same company that did all those Marvel trailers. We could not believe those Marvel trailers.
yeah,
Yeah, they cooked stuff out of the trailers. and in the
that's
movie.
not even a discussion because Marvel's been on a downhill decline ever since the end of it.
That's your problem. See, you talk about. I'm talking about.
I mean, you could argue Star Wars is in decline too, if you depending on from a certain point of view. You know, I'm not saying it is, but
I guess the Sith have been blinding me then because I've been focusing on the stuff I like comic books.
yeah, no, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Percy, what about you, man? What did you think about May's turn?
I think it's a little more believable now for some reason. Just looking at the whole series so far, she's been acting really weird, like the whole time. I think.
Yeah.
Like after she kills Indara, she like threatens that bartender, but I don't know if it was the acting, but if it was the direction. I didn't believe she was gonna hurt him, or she was even threatening him at all. Like, and then like she's like, ugh, like it scares him a bit.
Like a punk, like bullying, like.
Other than when she threw the knife at him to like distract Indara, like I don't think she was gonna kill him, and I think she's like very conflicted, and especially the episode 3, the flashback one. That's the flashback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like. She is the more attached one to Osha. Like,
yeah, for sure.
That does make sense to me.
Well, even her statement, I give you and you give me.
Yeah, like their whole like arc as kids was Osha wants her independence, you know. I'm sure it's like a pretty common thing with twins and siblings in general. And and Osha was a lot more distant, and May was definitely the one that wanted to do everything together, wanted to wear the same stuff and be the same person, you know. So I don't think her flip-flopping is that weird, but I do think it'll be weird if Osha flip-flops. I'm not sure.
You know what, Percy? You just opened my mind to that perspective, because now that I think about it, look at their parents. Mother Anasea at the very beginning. She's like, don't you reveal yourself behind this crowd to the Jedi. Don't you show yourself. She reveals. She's like, damn it, why'd you do that? Then they have that talk after, and Mother Anasea is willing to let Osha decide what she wants to do. Coral, on the other hand, no. They're staying in the coven. No chance.
If
so
he dies, he dies.
You have the easy one, and then you have the protective one. So I actually understand that, yeah. Interesting.
For sure. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about. I did want to talk about the creatures, but like I don't really have much. The creatures are cool. I think they're in the show. I think they're nailing, like, as far as like the sets and the creature design, like the sabers and the ships I'm kind of iffy on, but like everything else, like as far as like the amount of creatures that they're giving us, the amount of species, we're seeing like tree leeches and giant like owl moths and stuff like that. We're getting Wookiees, we're getting some like pig nose dude, we're getting the Kiadi Mundi, we're getting the Plo Koon. I'm blanking on all the species. Keldor, thank you. I'm so bad with the species names.
By the way, that Keldor was also confirmed. The name by Star Wars is it's not Plo Koon. It's actually Ithia Pan or Ithia Pan.
And I'm fine with that. I mean, yes, would I have liked it to be Plo Koon 100? I would have rather Plo Koon than Kiadi Mundi, if I'm being real.
Yeah, I mean, you got him in those original like mustard colored garbs, and the Keldor in that color. The Keldor species in that color is such a nostalgic callback to me playing Jedi Power Battles as a kid on the PS1. So if it is Plo Koon, cool. If it isn't, whatever. This is just like kind of what I was saying before with like the non-argument. Like Kiadi's age is such a weird thing to complain about.
Yeah, when it's like a weird hill to die on.
There's different. There's plot devices that have valid arguments to them. It's just like it's off.
Well, it's like you think we would be used to it by now, right? Like canon and stuff being changed has happened so much. Like even like I was reading up on like what the initial like idea for like the Clone Wars was and stuff like that. Like George changed all of that stuff. Like there was comics, there was stuff on it, and it's changed however many times. Like we got the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, then we got the actual Clone Wars, you know, and like, and even then it's just like there's so much stuff that changes all the time. George has stated and Dave has stated, because they're kind of like the two that are in charge now. I know Kathleen Kennedy is like the head honcho, but Dave is the lead creative guy. He is kind of like the George now. They've both stated that movies and shows come first. Everything else you see, read in the books and stuff like that, that's extra content. Or like Sam Witwer said, it's like different campfire stories. Like everybody has a different perspective of it. So it's like everybody getting mad, like I don't really understand. It's because like we're not taking it away from you. If you want Kiadi Mundi to still be that age, if you want to, like, if you just hate the Acolyte and don't want to add that to your head canon, he can still or it could be his dad. You could totally disown the Acolyte and not have it in your head canon, and he could still be the same age as he was in the playing cards, the D&D game. And you can still have that. It doesn't, like, nobody's taking that away from you, and that's
just like the sequels, man. They come out and you can accept them, but move on. Like, don't stay one of those fans that complain about something, and that's what your personality is. Don't be known as that guy. I mean, Max, you bring up the clones being changed. Originally, the concept was that all millions of them were in on the joke. And they all decided at the same time to kill the Jedi. So they were all evil to begin with. The Stormtroopers.
There was no chips.
I like the change. I like the change with the inhibitor chips. I think it makes more sense character-wise.
It makes them more human,
the Clone
too.
Wars. Yeah, you can connect with them a little bit more. That it was against their will. So you kind of feel bad in them some sense. But it's like part of the non-argument. Like I seen one of the references people made was the Dathomirian witches compared to this tribe too. You have people complaining now, like right now, that are like, dude, why is this coven all women? Woke! Dude, the Dathomirian witches have been
dominant too.
They are the dominant witch species on Dathomir. Yeah. This hasn't been complained about nearly as bad when it was first introduced as it is now. I don't understand.
And that's the thing I personally would have changed.
It's grasping at straws for argument.
Because like I will say the chant it's a little wonky, you know. It's
cringy.
It's a little, and a very quick fix. A very quick fix. Have them still say the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, but have them say it in another language. Have them say it in some Sith, or not Sith, but like witch tongue, where they're like
that echo that from like Mother Talon kind of did with the
something. You can still have them go ay and like be all in like harmony, but like. It felt very like you're at summer camp or something like that, and like the camp counselors getting everybody to kind of like sing together. That's the kind of the vibe it got. Whereas like in Dathomir, like they have like the echoey voice that has like the deep voice. They have the spirits and they're moving.
Even though it's English, it's still overlaid with like the demonic sense.
And they could have had that, and maybe they didn't want to, because I think they're trying not to paint the witches in like a dark, like I think they're trying to make them more of like the good guys. I think that's kind of like what the premise is, and the Jedi are in the wrong here. But even then, I think like adding like another, like taking your step outside of the world, you know, out of the worldly things, and having them like do the chant in some like language that is, you know, and I think you could have still had it. So but going to the Stanleys, Basil the Tracker was cool but creepy at the same time. Yeah, I do like our boy Yord.
Yeah.
I like it. Every time I say Yord, I got to play that clip, because Yord. That's what I think about every time. But I like how he was very pompous about it. He's like, well, some people wanted to speak Wookiee. I chose to speak whatever the species is that he says. It's like, I chose to speak this. I thought it was a better dialect or something. I'm like, bro, what like a freaking like my papa drives a Rolls Royce vibes, like, you know, like having like a rich, snobby rich kid being like, oh, I thought it was better to do this than to take
even
Jucky, hipster.
Yeah, even Jucky, that one Jedi, is like, Yord is Yord. Right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's like steaming his clothes. That's why he definitely seems like he's one of those like prep school rich kids that like thinks very highly. It was just funny that he was like, yeah, well, all the other Jedis were taking Shriwook. I was taking this. I thought it was more elegant or something like that, you know. That
Came in
was
hand.
But I want to, my kind of final note on all this stuff was talking about the Sith, and because that was another topic of debate, talking about the Sith floating, because the Sith character, whoever that is, we don't know whether it's a man or a woman. I know it says he in the thing, but that could also be a misdirection. Who knows? Kind of like floats down at the. I missed it at the beginning. I thought they just walked down. I missed the floating until I saw it the second time around. So it was like pretty much a non-issue to me. But I don't know, man. I think we see that so much in Star Wars too. Like we were talking about beforehand, Vader gets kicked down the flight of stairs in Return of the Jedi by Luke, and he like cushions his fall, so he's not just like tumbling down. We get Dooku in the 2003 Clone Wars, who like is going to talk to Ventress when she's fighting all the people. And I want to say even Yoda's done it, or Palpatine's done it at some point in the Clone Wars too.
Yeah, well, Palpatine and Vader in Battlefront 2 as well.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, like the Force is all around us. Why wouldn't you be able to manipulate it to kind of like soften your blow of hitting the ground, you know? And that's why I think explains like Jedi falling from high distances and being able to like kind of like make that jump. It's because they can kind of, it's still going to probably hurt, but you can soften your blow and not hit the ground like, you know, like cement, you know, you're not smacking the ground. So
dude, in Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan got kicked by Darth Maul in the face, fell off that platform.
Yeah, and then he
was that like up. 50 feet? Yeah.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
At least something like that. And he hops back up, no problem.
Not just hops back up, but the dude caught himself as he was falling off the next edge. He could have continued to fall.
Dude, that would have been bad.
But it was just not painful enough where he could get a little bit of conscience to, you know, catch himself.
Power Ewan McGregor, man.
I liked it, dude. I liked the floating down because it adds to the character's mystery of being like, whoa, he's doing something like.
Well, obviously that character's super strong because literally the flick of a wrist, like, launches Osha, and then also dumb move on the Jedi's part. Hey, we have 10 guys here or 8 guys here. Let's all rush him at once.
What could go wrong?
You've trained your whole. It's like the same thing with like Palpatine. I know Palpatine's like this expert Sith, and he's like mastered all the lightsaber forms. So of course he's gonna dice to everybody. But everybody's like, "Hey, let's get him!" And then like everybody gets got instantly. Like it's giving me that.
I'm taking him now.
Yeah, it's like it's giving me that sort of same vibes where like most of those Jedi, if not all of them, are gone. They're gonna die. You know?
Yeah, dude, and I think it also adds to whatever this Zippermouth character is too, because like the mask of intimidation with having the smile, but it's not the character.
What's everybody calling him? Smilo Ren or whatever.
Smilo Ren.
Everybody's dubbing him that.
When you see him float down, you don't see any of his limbs. You just see like the cape covering everything. So that kind of adds to the intimidation with the mask, not knowing, like not being able to predict the next person's move. You can even see Osha's like.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I think that adds to the character that he just kind of mysteriously floats down and is just like, okay, what's he gonna do next? He just, I mean, as a viewer, I even said it just now, like, but earlier with what's he gonna do next? He ignites the lightsaber. I instantly thought Osha was just dead. You know. And
that is interesting. Why he like, what is the purpose for him? That's why I think it's Coral, because I don't think Chimere has that attachment. Like why Chimere, I feel like would just stab her and be done with it, move on to the next person. And almost also, if it is Chimere, it would make sense to do that so it pushes May further back into the dark side because now she's pissed that her sister's dead. So I really think it gives more of a stronger pull to it being Coral or like an unknown entity, because there's a reason why. Like it felt weird that he just ignited it to the side. I know it was an intimidation factor, but I just kind of felt weird that he like tossed her and then it was like ready to encounter all the Jedi, you know?
Well, that's like a testament to what his unknown power is, because he doesn't want to deal with the
plan.
The get out of the way. I want the real deal, and you have all the Jedi.
He's in civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
But Charlie, what did you think about the Sith and the entrance of that person?
Oh man, it was. In another lane, it was very wizard.
Yeah.
No, it was just good because talking about earlier, just whenever, you know, she's like, he's here, everything just goes dark, and then
Yeah.
you kind of slowly in the background see something. You're like, is that a tree? Oh no, it's not. And then like that, and of course, Saul, like he's the first one to sense and turn, like, and then you kind of hear a little bit of the music turn like a little horror movie type thing. You're like, oh, well, crap baskets. It was cool. I guess, and by the way, that did not bother me at all, the floating thing, because it's like you just said, my God, I watched the 2003 Tarkovsky back in the day. My God. Everything else, Vader thing, I've read about, heard about. Doesn't bother me at all. It was awesome. It was wizard. It was great. I have
Floating is
nothing
cool.
else to say on
I think
it was great.
if they would have floated down from like a tree or something like that, maybe we got a different
if they
story. But it was
floated-
just like a
look,
rock.
If they floated upside down and had their lightsaber this way, then I'd be like, what?
Around the world, around
Yeah,
the
then I'm a
world.
little like, what are they doing? But no, it was cool, man. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, it gave me sort of mall vibes, you know, when the hangars open up and he's like looking down and then he kind of pans and starts to look up. It kind of gave me that kind of feel where like the person came down and was floating down and then was just like ready to like they're ready for war. Essentially, they chunked OSHA, pushed all the Jedi back, and I'm sure that episode 5 has been rumored that it's going to be the biggest lightsaber fight of this series. You know, this is where all the action is going to go down. Is episode 5, so I think we're hopefully in for a treat. You know, I'm not holding my breath because lightsaber combat hasn't been the best in the past few years, but hopefully we get some good stuff in this next episode, man.
There's been moments, yeah. There's been some.
There's
cool
been some
moments.
moments. But there's also been a lot of flops too. So it's like I'm a little gun shy when it comes to like seeing lightsaber combat, you know. But Peak, what about you, man? How'd you feel about the entrance of the Darksider?
Like all final bosses, like M. Bison had it. Akuma, he had it. Frieza, he had it. Cell, he had it. Broly, he had it. Lex Luthor, he had it.
Hell yeah.
Magneto.
Oh yeah, Magneto.
Apocalypse. I mean, he's.
I think Magneto did.
The Rock had it when he's going back to the final boss.
Oh god.
Yeah, he came out like a boss. He floated like a boss. So it was so cool, man. He's a boss, man. He's the final boss, man.
It's such a great.
He was hiding about Bryson take off his
Yes, I forgot about him.
Well, I think what this series has that I kind of hope that they play into with the combat is that they are using force abilities, and I really like this concept of like non-force wielding people kind of see lightsaber users or like people who can use the force as like blurs. I think it happens with like Luke in one of the EU stuff. Is like Luke is seen more, like he's seen more as like a blur when he's fighting and stuff like that. And I think, well, like obviously looking at blurs is not like the best. I think Dragon Ball does it really well, but like it's not the most engaging thing. I still think they could do something with like, I'm really hoping that the Sith can add some speed, or they're using the force. We already kind of see like them using the environment, which I feel like is a very Sith thing to do, is like throwing, droids or throwing boxes like Vader does. And like this person's using the ground to, it'd be cool if in the next episode, like it just starts and there's smoke everywhere and you just hear, and you just see like a dash or something like that. And like they're, so by the time Soul and Osha kind of get up, like half the Jedi are already gone. And then there could just be an epic fight between like Soul and Yord and maybe I'm blanking on the name of the who's Soul's apprentice right now. What's her name? Jackie, yeah, and like maybe she can survive, or maybe she doesn't make it. Who knows?
Maybe
I think
Soul doesn't survive.
I don't think he is. Like I said, I think as soon as the character, that's like a classic writing thing, unless they just want to flip the script. Anytime somebody says, "Hey, we'll talk about this later," that person usually doesn't make it. Typically in writing, like I feel like that's just a trope.
To add on what you were saying, Max, The Phantom Menace is one of my top 3 Star Wars movies.
Oh, okay.
But I think back in the day when the movies were coming out, and you really didn't have the internet, but you still had media press and everything. Introducing something at the beginning of the movie like Force Speed, where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan escape from the droidicas.
Mm-hmm.
that's a little too early on. I know you want to show the Jedi on their prime moving fast and all, but you have the casual dislikers of Star Wars, not haters, but just critiquers that watch the movie.
Yeah.
Will be like, well, why don't they just force speed through all the fights? Okay.
Because then it's not interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. The same argument can be made about the video games. I mean, I do not want to see Starkiller brought back into canon at all due to the justice of the character not being respected. But I understand what people want to see of that. It makes sense why they wouldn't show something like that because he's a Force god. I like that they're playing around with elements of that, where you see in Kenobi, you see Vader like holding the ship.
That was sick.
And he rips it down. You see him do this, like he uses the Force on this ground. It creates a crack, and then he's like using all these rocks, like these cool Force abilities. I think they're doing it in just enough of a tasteful way.
Yeah.
Where they can introduce something like that. Otherwise, it's a double-edged sword because you don't want it to get too messy. Because
I think they can add it in this show, though.
Well, I think this is the show to do it because this is kind of like that heightened Jedi Prime sense where everybody's super skilled and everything like that. But it's a double-edged sword because it makes those critiques from the casual dislikers points valid. Because it makes even the sweaties be like, oh, I guess they could.
Well, yes and no, dude. Because like at the end of the day, it's like the same thing as like for Lord of the Rings. Like, why didn't they just hop on the Eagles and fly to Mordor?
And Tolkien was like, because that's boring.
Well, it's like, no, it is. It's not like there's no story. Yeah. It's just like, and this happened. The end. Like, dude, there's got to like people forget this is storytelling, dude. There has to be like it has to be laid out. You know.
That's why EU stuff belongs in EU. That's why it's so dangerous with what Disney's doing nowadays, bringing in characters like this. Yeah, it's very dangerous. It's a double-edged sword.
Well, it's weird because like I feel like they're picking it, but like they're just being like, "Hey, that's a cool idea," but they don't pay homage to it. Like they need to pay more respect. I think if you're going to go that route, you need to pay more respect to it, or just think of something else. Think of something on your own. Yeah, Stanley's. I think we're all in agreement to you. At the end of the watch party, we're all like, "That's cool. How you end it." Like that's how you end it.
Yeah, that's where the gripe took place because, in my opinion, other people. Thank you, Andrew. Other people can have their opinion. That was an awesome way to end it. It's such a cliffhanger. My personal opinion, I don't want a cliffhanger right at the height of climax when stuff is going down. Like you said, Max, I want to see Maul take off the robes. I'm like, dude, the hype is building. Something's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. And it's like cutting as soon as Maul opens the door and he does this.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to cut there. You want to see the fight. Come on, let's go. Let's have the whole sequence.
How cool would it have been as if the Sith pushes the smoke. The smoke's everywhere. And then you just pan to Soul. And it's kind of slowly like fading out to him, and he's kind of like disoriented, trying to get his stuff. And then you just hear Jedi screams and lightsaber swings in the background.
Yeah,
like something like that would have been even cool. Or maybe them walking sabers, and then that's how you end it.
Mind. Yeah, let it play with your mind a little bit.
So you give a little bit, but it doesn't show the whole fight, you know. Mm-hmm. But I want to show. Yes, Andrew. Thank you for smash. Yeah, if you're in the stream and you're enjoying it, smash that like button. The algorithm is a pain in the ass to get through. So let's fight this algorithm and get this stuff out there. But I do want to Charlie and Percy kind of get your opinion, or maybe Charlie, did you already give yours about the Sith lady entering? Somebody didn't give their opinions on it yet.
I think Percy was.
I think Charlie and Pete already.
Yeah.
You guys are okay. Sorry. Sometimes we go down rabbit holes and I forget where we're at. Percy,
he was saying that he's like he had a badass entrance like Frieza or Cell and Bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. Didn't he?
Like Luther.
Yeah, he's gonna be like Frieza, but when Frieza comes back all robotic, Trunks is gonna come out of nowhere and with the light whip. But Percy, what do you think, man? I want to hear your opinions on the Sith and the entrance and just how it was given to us.
I got more pictures of this guy.
Let's go, baby.
Bring it right. This dude.
Dollar store Ezra Miller.
It looks like.
Look at his hands here. Look how dirty he is. Look at this. Even this robe kind of reminds me of the stuff, but I don't know if I got the right picture, but he's definitely like enough taller than May to be the stranger.
Yeah.
And then if we go here, we see, yeah, it's pretty hard to see the hands and stuff. I got more pictures of him. Here's a good one.
He's got the same skinny build, though, you know?
This arm gauntlet that he has is interesting.
Well, it's hard to see because, like,
remember if Coral wears something like that. But look at his hands. This is where I'm getting at. I think this is a guy, because these are like some pretty chunky looking hands, and the height. I just don't think it's Coral anymore because of these scenes.
Well, I feel like it could be
the coolest shot I got.
Yeah, that is pretty sick.
God,
I feel like it could be. I feel like it could be either, because like I feel like they're covering so much of the character. It is like the hands, yeah, but like
this
even
is where
like,
the fingertips do look kind of different, though. I think like
yeah, feminine, more of a feminine arm. Yeah, but it's hard because if it is, man, why am I? You guys are gonna have to help me out. Who's the guy again? Kamir. If it is Kamir, like he also is very skinny, so it's hard to like say who it is because
that's what I said. He's got the same build. He's got the same
so
build.
It's kind of hard to judge.
OSHA, hers is a blur.
Yeah, just whoop. I will say, I think this might be an unpopular opinion. I kind of wish they didn't add the teeth. Kind of wish it was just a straight, solid down. I'm not a big fan of the smile. Like, I think it would have just been cooler if it was just a complete helmet.
I like it. It adds the intimidation because it's like the lack of emotion.
Smile on that face.
I don't. Yeah, literally Joker, but like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm just not a fan. I need to see it more in the light, maybe like an actual, maybe in a showcase or something like that, because it's pretty dark here. But I don't know. But sorry, Percy, I've been the king of interrupting you while you're talking. You just give me so many ideas. I had to get them out. But continue with what you were saying.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's all right. I thought his entrance was sick. Like you can't really do anything cooler than blasting everyone away.
Yeah,
like right when you show up, that was pretty.
With that many, especially because the Jedi are like they're like ready, they're like charging them and ready to go, and he's just like, "You guys are nothing."
Yeah. So these other Jedi are like they're screwed. Like these unnamed ones, they're deader than dead has ever been.
Jedi number 4.
This is, the name of that creature.
So the Umbra Moth. So are they referring to Umbra as like the Battlefront 2 ARC Trooper skin, the Umbra Trooper, like the black and the orange with like the lines? Because these
that's the
centipede
only reference
things,
I could think of.
Yeah, these centipede things have like the orange legs, and I don't know. It's kind of dank like that. They got the lines and everything.
They're dank. Did I get a picture of the thing? I guess not.
Just
got a picture of him doing the baseball bat.
Yeah, they're
here real quick. I'm gonna pull up what we're talking about. Here, let me share.
The last thing was
real quick. Just
the
this
Keldor has a green lightsaber.
Yeah, it's
I was hoping she'd have an orange one.
Oh, dude, that would have sold the Jedi Power Battles Plo Koon 100%.
Yeah, that would have been sick. But yeah, that's the moth that we're talking about for those who
they're
cute.
Yeah, cute. Now honestly, it kind of looks like, I mean, maybe it's just because like Metroid 4 just got announced, but it kind of looks like the Metroid bug a little bit because it has like multiple eyes and has like 2 kind of pincers.
If any of you have played Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies, it looks like the parasites on Shadows of Evil that, like fly around. Eyes like that. For sure. But definitely a flying centipede is a big Jurassic nope resounding from me.
Yeah.
When I saw the scene, I don't have captions turned on. So I just looking at it from a distance thought they were like some sort of like tree sap collectors. Then they go up and poke one of them and it moves. I'm like, oh, this is just like Van Helsing when they poke like the little incubated vampire things that like pulsates or whatever.
Well, even in that, I'm like, dude, everybody knows you don't. If you're in a forest and you don't know what something is, don't touch it. I was like, I feel like whatever universe you're in, that's a universal known thing. Don't touch stuff that you don't know what it is, because just like what she was saying, oh, I touched it and then I caused the chain reaction and it killed that, that bug or whatever, the flying moth. And I'm just like, especially if there's creatures, and we get a ton of creature sounds at the very beginning when they're looking at the forest. I'm like, don't touch stuff. I was like, that's like Jedi 101. They should be teaching you that in class. Hey, if you're on a crazy planet, there's a lot of crazy creatures out there in the galaxy. Don't touch stuff. Don't do it. That's what I would. That's my petition for the Jedi is have like a creature class where it's like, don't touch anything.
You guys
Don't do
think those moths are gonna come back into play? Like, are they gonna be like make everyone run away during the?
That would
fight?
be cool. Beast taming, beast mastery.
God.
But no, but like,
no, dude. Okay, I'll draw the line there. I'm not a fan of all of the recent beast taming. They're doing it in like every series.
I don't know. That could be kind of, but like more so like as like a distraction or something like that. I feel like that might be. I don't think so, but like that would be.
No, I think they're just
cool.
gonna,
I don't know.
Like on instinct, come and attack everybody.
Maybe that's what drives away the fight and allows him to escape or something like that, or the
someone's got to
the
live
Sith guy is.
this.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. That's what
I don't think the Sith guy is dying.
I
like,
want to know. Yeah, it's only episode 4. Seems like unless they're gonna introduce a new villain now.
Somebody better die, man.
That'd be pretty. Oh no, people are dying for sure. Like all those Jedi in the background gone. Soul more than likely gone.
I'm leaning with you more towards yes that people are dying, but there's so many recent lightsaber fights where the stakes have just been so low because you can expect whatever their encounter is. They get separated, one escapes on a ship, or they come back, I'll get you again. I think in Jedi Survivor, you fight Dagan Gera 3 times, dude.
Yeah.
What happened to this is like, okay, I'm fighting
Well, that's video games. That's a little different. Video game style. That's they gotta.
You would expect more in a video game would be brutal. Like they would have.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying though, like fighting 3 times, I feel like that's a video game thing. Like they kind of do that in video. You fight Vader how many times in The Force Unleashed? You fight him like 2 or 3 times before you get to Palpatine.
I know, but the stakes are just not what they used to be. Where you would watch the prequels and be like, okay, somebody is definitely losing a limb or dying or something. There is very seldom fights where a party escapes or something like that.
Yeah. I will say, I do think I'm calling this right now. The name of the episode is Day. I would bet my bottom dollar that the next episode is going to be called Night. Dude, I just like know it. I'm marking it now. Clip it, timestamp it, whatever you got to do.
Are we gonna get a counter episode to Destiny, like Fate or something? Or
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will.
Well, the counter to Destiny would be Choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must
Destiny's
choose.
already like Fate.
Yeah, it's similar.
I have the power to save the ones you love.
Don't listen to him, Anakin.
Man.
But that's all the kind of the notes that I had. This wasn't a very long episode, and I mean there was stuff that happened in it. It's just there wasn't an enormous amount of stuff that happened in it. So unless you guys have anything else to add, we'll just kind of wrap it up.
Just one.
Go for it, man. The floor is yours.
I always love stuff like this because spoilers. It's fine too. Seeing I can't think of her name. Daphne Keen's character at the very beginning. Them all
Jackie.
using Bo-Katan's. That gave me some I don't care if it was for a second. It was a nice little burst of joy.
I like seeing Padawans train. It's kind of fun to have like a little 2 second.
It's my dark sense of humor. It's nice, one awesome seeing stuff like that, and you're just like, oh man, when Vader comes rolling up in there years from now.
All those Padawans are going to be probably old by then because that's like 70 years later, so 60 years later. So they'll be.
I was just saying that was a cool little thing to see that and everything like that. One, that actress is very good at what she does if she kept up with her training since Logan. So seeing her get a chance to do anything, I'm like, right on.
Well, I think it would be cool, like if she lived and Soul dies, because then she's kind of talking to Osha about like, hey, you have to, which is also a cool thing because Yoda, that's a Yoda quote where she was like, Osha was like, oh, I caused this moth to die. And she's like, oh, you should rejoice in the fact that creature became one with the Force. That's something to be celebrated, not taken away. And I'm pretty sure in episode 3, when he's talking to Anakin, he's like, rejoice for those around you. Yeah, so that's a Yoda quote straight up, and I don't feel like anybody's talking about that, and I feel like that's kind of a cool little nod to
people find the most ridiculous stuff.
But it's cool because I feel like this show is a lot about turning your perception on its head. So it would be cool if she did survive and Soul didn't, because then she would have to deal with that sort of like conundrum of like, hey, my master, obviously she cares for Soul and she likes Soul. So it's like, now you have to rejoice and kind of go through your own steps of, kind of dealing with Soul dying. I don't want Soul to die, obviously, but
No.
if that happens,
It wouldn't bother me as long as they do it in the right way.
yeah, as long as he goes out.
Meaningful way.
I got some things. They're small though.
Hold on 1 second, Charlie. Were you finished with what you?
Yeah,
Had?
that was it. I was just like, that was
Okay.
a little cool little thing. I like.
Cool. I just didn't want to move on without you.
No, 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 you're good.
JT, go. Yeah, the floor is yours, man. Go.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to look into the actor who played him, but Charlie brought it up to me by saying the kendo stick kind of training scene. The guy with the ginger perm who's talking, he's like, "You must focus," or something like that. He's got a really familiar face. Is he in the Aquaman movies?
I don't know. He kind of looks like what's his name from Game of Thrones?
The general. I think he's the general in Aquaman or something like that. I don't know.
I've seen a couple of those actors for like stunts. I'd have to ask my buddy.
Hide the numbers.
Great. Yeah, and then the other thing was Sam Witwer was referenced.
Yeah, who did he
in the
voice?
credits.
What the hell?
So here's the thing with Sam Witwer. Yeah, that dude. He looks like the general in Aquaman.
Bro, no, straight up, he looks like what's his name from Game of Thrones? He's like, is the big woman here? Tormund.
Oh,
dude, he straight up looks like it's not the actor, but it looks like him. It's like they could be like cousins or brothers or something.
Huh.
I like him.
He
looks like I look.
As I was saying, they'll get people like Sam Witwer who are just fans that work at Lucasfilm that can do like alien noises just to come in. Who knows? Sam's probably Basil, that little like.
Yo, he could be.
That would be funny. That would be so awesome.
He could.
And no one would know because there's just cameos like that too. Because even in Ahsoka, people are like, "Oh my gosh, is he the voice of Marok? He has that same Starkiller sound and voice." No, dude, Marok already had an actor credited. It's not him. But Sam Witwer, he's got his hands in a lot of.
He's just a moth creature. He did moth creature noises.
No one will know. He's just credited as in the credits. It's not even like what he played or anything. So yeah, it's just a little cool cameo.
I think
was
even like
Andor as like a shore trooper or something.
Yeah, dude. Well, like I think he was talking on one of the interviews, and he was like, "Dude, he's like half the time he's like they don't even tell me what I'm going in there for. He's like I'm just recording a voice, and he's like I honestly don't know how many times I've been in Star Wars because my voice is used for so many different things that they really don't tell me anything about. They just tell me to do the lines. And
Humble brag.
Yeah, I was like,
right.
dude's literally sprinkled all over Star Wars, like just big chillin'.
Love that guy.
But JT, did you have anything else you wanted to?
No, that's Easter egg wise. Look, I don't know what we were talking about before with our previous topics. I liked the episode. I did like episode 4. The gripes that I have still with what I've seen 4 episodes in are not enough to ruin the series for me. I'm still on the fence because we haven't gotten the whole thing released yet. I need some time to simmer for certain opinions to solidify, so I'm still here and there. I'm still liking it though. It's not enough to turn me away. I'm always gonna watch Star Wars, give it a chance one time, all the way through.
No, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like to be honest with you, I am kind of waning on the show a little bit because I'm tired of just being like in the middle of the road. I either want to be like, hey, I like this show, or this show wasn't for me. And I feel like I've been sitting in this kind of like, it's still too early to tell sort of thing. I feel like I am waning on the show. So I'm hoping that the next episode is going to have lightsaber dueling in it. I'm hoping that kind of brings me back and really reinvigorates kind of like my excitement for the show, because like, I don't like, I personally will consider the show a failure if I'm just like along for the ride the entire time. I don't want to just be along for the ride in Star Wars. I want to either like it or not like it. Like for me, like Boba Fett, not for me. There's aspects of Boba Fett that I liked, but at the end of the day, wasn't for me. Like I kind of want more of a definitive like yes or no, and I kind of feel like I'm waning more. Like I just don't like. I just feel like I'm along for the journey right now, and I want to be excited. So I'm hoping this next episode does that. But Percy, you raised your hand. While JT was going. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I got just the last bit of Percy's picks I could go through.
Hey man,
quickly.
yeah, go for it. No, I appreciate it. I
Percy's
like
picks.
Percy's
I like
picks.
that
Dude,
segment.
okay, I need to have we have Nick's Easter eggs. I need to have Percy's picks.
So yeah, JT, it's like a big tank tread, which is what I brought up.
Which is
before.
interesting because like
Instead of,
I've
like,
heard a
a
lot of
really-
people say that it's a crashed ship.
Yeah,
And you're
that was
saying that,
weird.
but now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the tread, so it kind of does make more sense that it's like almost like an ancient like tank or some machine or something like that had been left there that he made the home.
First time she smiles.
Craziness.
Nice, yeah.
Actually, I really like this conversation between the two of them. Some of the best acting.
Afraid you'll
both of
miss
them.
me. Yeah.
Well, I like their chemistry together. I think they really like on screen they do well together.
Yeah, they're like friends for sure.
Oh yeah, dude, this hollow room, it like hasn't changed since Revenge of the Sith. Minus like the color patterns with like the red and the white. This is the same room that like Mace is like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
It's in the Battlefront 2 game.
Yeah.
I do like that the characters turn red too to show that they've died or like moved on. Like
Yeah,
I think
we
it's just
didn't
cool.
know.
Yeah, it's like, hey, just to let you know, they're red. We've lost the command
I thought it was
post.
weird that Soul's not on here. And then they're like, oh, but you too.
Yeah.
Well, Vanestra tells him, he's like, you're
Yeah.
the fourth.
Here's
Yo,
the
hold on.
others.
Go.
I got
Can you go
Jedi
back one?
Master Furby over here. Really
Furby.
caught my eye.
Yo, that's the
the-
one from Bad Batch. That's the
Yeah,
creature in
Kidnapped
Bad
little
Batch.
child.
Yeah. Can you go
He's
back
got
one
like
real quick?
robes on though.
Yo, real quick too. I know I'm bouncing all over this. Look at the dudes in the top corner. That mustache game is on point, bro.
Mr. Monopoly.
Powerful
Dude,
mustache.
that is Dirty Dan right there, bro. He is the pinnacle of Dirty
That's
Dan.
Doug Dimmadome without the hat.
Don't dimmadome, don't dimmadome.
Stop holding that thing like a lightsaber.
I
It's
know.
not gonna be a lightsaber.
But can you go back one real quick? Is that the chick from Loki? Is she like the head like officer lady?
No,
in
that's
Loki?
a
Similar?
different actor.
They look very similar. I need to go back
Yeah.
and re-look at Loki, but they kind of have similar
I'm bad with
vibes.
faces.
Well, their hair is done the exact same way, but I can see the face is definitely not.
Neat.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
what I'm
it's-
saying, man. The creature design is amazing. Sorry, Percy. I know I'm sorry, man. I've been cutting you
ahead.
off this whole freaking show.
No
I'm trying to
worries.
get better.
Your
about that.
your show, Max.
Yeah.
I know, but I want everybody's voice to be heard. But it goes back to my point. Has been I really love the world building in the background of a lot of this stuff. Like, you could tell this is a high budget show, and I really love. Like, I think they need to do this. The Disney executives, dude, we want to see this stuff in the shows, man. We want to see more creatures. More. I'm tired of human beings. I want to see more creatures and more species in the show.
I'm tired of human beings. All of these on screen are practically humans, minus like 2.
Yeah. But even then, like, it's still sprinkled in, you know? Oh, that lightsaber gross. Oh.
My eyes.
I don't want to hear it. That's another story for another time.
Continue,
That will
Percy.
be the grossest lightsaber if I'm right about that.
Oh,
I
God.
really I hope not. I hope
It's
not.
just the Star Wars.
I feel like that
toy.
could be the one that Nick said that they weren't allowed to make. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
This
that's
is
a
a
cool
cool shot.
Yeah.
Just kind of boring, but
Well, that's where you hear all the creatures of like the jungle and stuff like that too, which is
Yeah.
cool. It gave me very much Heir to the Empire when Luke is in that one forest area with Mara
Mara.
Jade. And, like,
Mara, yeah.
there's like creatures everywhere. It's like it gave me those type of vibes.
There's that
Lucky
big like
bloke.
dog thing that they fight in the comic too.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of teeth.
Lucky bloke.
Dude,
What?
definitely King Kong vibes here when all the creatures are coming out of like the little like trench.
Oh,
Like
God.
straight up looks like something that would come out of one of those trenches.
here, I think Soul sensed Kelnaka dying here because he like really tripped out for a second.
Well, she says, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's nothing." Like instantly. So maybe he senses either Kalnaka dying or the dark side user approaching.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe he's got
I thought it
connections.
was really good, like physical acting in that part.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Lee
there's,
Jang-jung is just a good actor in general. Like he's very popular in Korea.
I think he actually got admitted to the hospital for carrying the whole entire series on his back.
Yeah, his back broke.
I think I saw something about that.
back problems.
There is one more picture I have that we haven't seen, and that's my boy, Man Bear Pig.
I want to see what species that is, dude. Like, what
Oh,
the
such
heck
a
is
good
that?
South Park callback.
I like him better than Kiadi already, just by looking at him. But
His
maybe
hair,
that's just
like
me.
the way his bangs are kind of flared up like that, it's turning into kind of like a Joe Dirt kind of mullet.
Got like a scar. But that was the last picture of Percy's picks.
I'm gonna have something for that next time. I'm gonna create something in Photoshop for you. That, but yeah, man, I think that's good.
Oh, I
We're
forgot
already at,
that my face is on here the whole time. My bad.
oh, you're good, dude. I don't think it really interrupted any of the
I have it
any of
set
the
up for
shots.
pod racing still.
But hey, we didn't get any shills this time. We didn't get any shill comments. I had something ready and we didn't get anything, so that's good. Yeah, Charlie is the secret assassin. He goes out and takes out
He took
everybody.
care of it.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. But no, we're at I definitely didn't think we were gonna go to like an hour and 30. We can definitely talk about Star Wars. That's the thing I love about this group is we can just talk for days on it. But thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us. We'll be doing a watch party, and I'll probably do a Star Wars Hunters playthrough before on Tuesday. So definitely check us out then. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Real quick, go subscribe to everybody down below. Go follow them on their Instagrams and stuff. They do a lot of cool stuff. Spread the Star Wars love. We need more people in the community spreading love and not hatred. Even if you don't like something, there's ways to communicate it better than just saying Star Wars bad or you're a fake fan or whatever it is. We need more.
Or just move on. Yeah, just stop talking about negative stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. I think we all are very open-minded, especially at the Den. I really try to make that a thing, that everybody's open-minded and having fun, and expressing everybody's heard. Everybody's heard. So go give them some follows, hit like and subscribe on the stream for more content. Got a lot of cool stuff coming your way. And as always, may the Force be with you.